Lionel Messi is coming to MLS. Really, really significant moment for MLS, guys.
There's so many moments over the past years where it's like, I remember where I was at when this bad thing happened in the world. And it's just all over the news. And then you have something that's so big and it's just good news, it's happy news. And it felt kind of the same in terms of like, oh, like everybody's talking about this and it's happening and we're here. Like Messi is coming to MLS. And now you get to say, hey, I found out about this from a million different Twitter accounts, probably. CBS, Sports Galactica talking about it a lot this morning. Anyway, you'll know where you were at when it was announced that Messi was coming to MLS, and that's a really cool thing to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Miami is the center of the sports universe. You've got the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals. You got the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals, and they get Messi.
You mentioned the
crazy.
You mentioned the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers barely in the finals. They're like down 0-2. I mean, they're going to be.
They're there though. Like Miami's just like
they're there.
that whole area is just a big party right now. Like they've just had nonstop good sports news going on, and this is just going to make it even more exciting, I think.
And people said the Heat were going to get swept by the Nuggets. That's obviously not going to happen now. So, yeah, good vibes, except for the Panthers, who are like getting slaughtered by Vegas, the Stanley Cup Finals. But anyway, yeah, Tyler, you said it. Just kind of one of those remember where you were kind of days for MLS. I feel like it's bigger than David Beckham. I barely remember. I mean, I don't want to say barely remember. I wasn't following the sport really that closely in 2007 when Beckham came over to MLS. But I knew enough about soccer to know who David Beckham was and what he meant to the global football world. So when he came over to MLS, yeah, I knew that's a big deal, especially in LA where like he's right there in the center of the entertainment world. And I mean, it was a perfect fit for him. He's just kind of that guy. Messi, much grander scale. I saw someone say on Twitter, I forget who, Messi in some circles is considered a god.
Yes.
You saw videos.
And that's not a joke. Like, that's not a joke.
No, you saw videos of him in Argentina, trying to get dinner, and just the outside of the restaurant was just crowded and full of people. It was just incredible just to see the reception he got. Of course, the Argentine football team as a whole got after the World Cup, but Messi just that much more, and a different stratosphere. And now the eyes of and this is not just overblowing it, the eyes of the football world are on MLS right now just to see how Lionel Messi is going to fare in MLS and with Inter Miami. And I feel like it's a rising tide kind of situation because this benefits, I feel, not just Inter Miami, but benefits MLS as a whole, especially with the deal with Apple and MLS Season Pass. This is so much more attention is going to be paid to this league. And now the onus is on MLS to grow the product outside of Messi, because once he's retired, some of those eyeballs are going to go off the league again. So MLS has to do a better job than it did with Beckham. I saw someone tweet this out earlier with nurturing the fan base that comes in with Lionel Messi, because it's going to be a lot. And with 2026 coming around the corner, MLS really, really needs to capitalize on this moment. And yeah, having Messi helps, so he's not going to be around forever. So what's going to happen to MLS after Messi, I think, needs to be the discussion as well.
Yeah, it's a golden opportunity for the league as a whole, for soccer in this country as a whole, not just MLS, but soccer as a whole from the bottom up. And you have the World Cup coming in 2026. If there was a better time in United States soccer than this, I can't think of it. Like, Messi coming here is huge. And yeah, people are going to always compare it to Beckham. Beckham was huge for when it happened. This is far beyond that. And kudos to Beckham for being a part of both, by the way. Like, him bringing Messi here and kind of orchestrating things and at least being a part of making it happen. The league has already shown that they're going to bend rules a little bit, as they should, to essentially invest in their self, invest in the league by doing this. So it's not a bad thing in terms of like how they're essentially making a Messi rule to do this. I think now the issue is, do they take the momentum and capitalize on it? Because you have all the momentum in the world now. Like you said, Sydney, he may not be here that long, relatively long, a couple of seasons, maybe 3, who knows? But you get yourself to the World Cup, and then all eyes are on you anyway. You have Messi, you have this deal that people in any country, 107 countries anyway, something like that, can buy, can pay for. They can watch it anywhere in the world. And you've set yourself up really pretty for the next quite a few years. And now you just got to take advantage of it.
Is there any Messi rule? Like, is that because they had a DP spot open, correct?
No,
I understood.
they don't.
I thought
right
they
now.
did.
No, they have Campana. I think Campana, Pizarro, and Gregor, I believe, are there 3.
Yeah, I feel
I'm
like
pretty sure
Joseph
they have
is one
two.
too.
No, he's a TAM guy.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I can look it up.
So-
I can look it up.
they will.
Yeah, look it up, because I saw some people saying that, you know, that they've been basically their season's been tanking because they have this spot. So I don't think that's that, but like you talk about this contract, we don't know exactly what he's making, but Apple's involved now. So basically the contract says that any subscribers that start coming in, basically, from my understanding, is now forward, he's going to get a piece of it, which is crazy, right?
Yep.
Because again, the Apple MLS package isn't just for the United States, it's across the entire world. So that's going to be something. He's going to make money from there. Adidas, he already signed like a lifetime contract with Adidas, but he's going to be making even more money with, I think they've offered him incentives for how he grows the sport in the United States.
And
So he's
and
making
it's,
even more money with that.
I think Felipe mentioned, and the guys over at the Athletic, I think it was coming from them, that any Inter Miami kit sales, any of them, a portion of that's going to go to him.
Yeah.
Even the Breck Shea ones?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
Well, Breck's
either
retired,
one
so.
You can get it.
Real quick. So Inter Miami currently, their DPs, senior DPs, Joseph Martinez, Rodolfo Pizarro, and Gregory, as you guys mentioned. And then Campana is on a young DP deal. I saw someone say in the chat, Bruno saying in the chat, they could buy Gregory down. Yeah, they could buy any of those players out, because remember, this deal is not official yet. I imagine it'll take place during this transfer window when all the I's will be done and T's will be crossed. So Miami has some time to get their house in order from a roster standpoint. And I know, even saying that, this is Miami, and they've been in a little hot water in the past with their roster situation. Anyway, you would hope that they could get this deal done. I mean, it sounds like they are, but you hope that there's no sort of backwater, under the table dealings going on to get Lionel Messi here, because what's the point of it if you have to break the rules? But yeah, I think we were just talking earlier, how does this change the roster building mechanisms in MLS? Because obviously you have the 3DP rule, which came on board because of David Beckham. So MLS kind of had to create this new rule saying, okay, you can bring in these big players and they won't count toward the salary cap except for X amount of money. Interested to see what happens. What is that Messi rule? I mean, we kind of talked about that Messi rule, but what does that Messi rule end up being? Do we see more players, big-time players, coming over and getting cuts of the jersey sales and getting cuts of season pass subscriptions like Messi's getting right now, reportedly? I'll be interested to see what that looks like, especially with MLS really trying to get on equal footing with Liga MX. We saw with the Champions League final, Lyon essentially outplaying LAFC. So what does MLS do to get themselves on equal footing, especially with Leagues Cup here, and again trying to get on par with them with Champions League?
So you look at that. I'm not really concerned about Messi because he's going to likely be that DP and he's getting a bunch of money in other places. But there's talks now that his friends are coming along, right? It's Messi and friends. And Messi and friends, how do you afford that in the cap? And that's where I'm going to be the most interested because, okay, you get a DP spot, you bring this guy in, great. You've got other DPs, though. So what does the rest of their cap space look? And how is that money going to start coming in? If they start signing players left and right that are big name players across the pond, we're going to start questioning things. And that's what I care about here is to see, because there's already rumors going out there, right? Of other him bringing players here.
Yep.
They're not going to be coming in to make, $100,000. They're going to be coming in for money. So that's what I want to see. That's where I'm concerned at, because if whatever you bring in the biggest names on a DP, that's what you do. Great. But how are you going to cater to him? And if he wants all these guys here and they say, no, we can't because of the cap, that's fine. But if he starts bringing people in and it starts getting questionable, then I just want it to be fair across the board. And that's all I've really wanted with this here, because I don't think there is going to be a Messi rule. If he's just a DP, then it's really not a thing. It's just what happens after this with the cap.
Let me ask you guys this, though. What if Messi isn't a DP? What if the money that he makes from jersey sales and season pass sales kind of makes up that roster, or makes up that salary number for him, so Miami don't need to spend a DP slot on him? Just theoretically speaking, what if there's like a minimum cut that Apple and MLS are set to give him? I'm going to
burn the world down. I'm going to burn the world down if he's not a DP.
I mean,
you've angered me. You've ruined this good moment, and I knew something was going to set me off. I'm turning red now. You've angered me so much. I just say, if that's not it,
you're blending in with your shirt, Tommy.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's what my 2 cents on that. If that happens, it's horse crap unless the league allows other teams to do something similar. Now,
maybe that's a Messi rule. I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but I do think that and I'm pulling it up now because I think it was The Athletic that mentioned earlier that from them, other teams, all the teams in MLS did in some way financially contribute to this. Now, I don't know what that means, because you got to understand MLS is essentially a franchise system. It's different than other leagues in the world. At the end of the day, what MLS says goes. So if you're looking at like Atlanta United and every other team paying part of his salary, I think that's crap. Now, if it's just a matter of, well, we're not going to get all the money from all of these Apple subscriptions and everything else, and a little bit of that's going to go towards Messi, I think it's maybe 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but I think it's a little easier to swallow than just saying, well, yeah, Atlanta United and every team he's going to play against is going to pay for his salary, because that's crap. We had a part of an episode earlier in the year about it when that first came out, and that's crap. I think that it's absolute garbage. You have to be able to give the other team something to allow them to bite this bullet, essentially. So whatever that may be, but tomorrow, Don Garber should come out and say 4th DP at least, or salary cap bumped up at least. There's no reason not to. You just brought in the best player in the world, the GOAT, to the league, biggest athlete in the world, bar none. Bar none. Like, we can talk about Ronaldo, but Ronaldo's playing over in Saudi Arabia right now, and you can barely watch him. Messi is coming to MLS. He just won the World Cup. There is no reason that MLS can't say, we're gonna make the roster rules a little less stringent. Here's what we offer: another DP, salary cap bumped up, however many millions of dollars, whatever. You got to do something though. You can't just give it all to Miami. That's crap.
Yeah. No, I get that.
He turned down 1.2 billion. That's the rumor, right? In
Something a
Saudi.
billion, yeah, something like that.
That's
ridiculous.
I mean, I went to Miami. I've liked Miami. I saw the Fast and Furious movies in Miami. I saw the scenes where, the beach looks nice. Everything on the beach looks nice. But you turned down 1.2 billion. Wow. It's been a crazy.
Money, though.
I mean, you talk about the whole PGA thing that went down, and yesterday, and then you see Messi turn that money down, the Saudi money down, and to come play here. It's crazy. And, I mean, and there's so much to talk about with this entire situation. You've got, like we said, his friends, and then there's rumors of Tata Martino.
Yep.
I mean, there's talk that he's about to become, the manager of Miami. Like, that's crazy. And, it's getting brought up in the chat about like how these ticket prices are going. And when I looked at this game like a while ago, when I was planning my fall trip into town, I was looking and I go, all right, I'm going to come see Joseph Martinez play. I think that's going to be a fun game.
Woo, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, and thinking, okay, I'm just seeing Joseph. Now I'm going to see Tata. Now I'm going to see Messi. And I see in the chat, will he play on turf? I don't think he's the guy that's not going to play on turf, especially like as far as how they're going to market this guy. I definitely think that he's going to be playing. If he doesn't, it's crap. But I was, I put on Twitter, yesterday when I heard these rumors, I was like, I should probably look at tickets now before they get crazy. 2 supporters section tickets, with Ticketmaster fees, $100. Now they're going for $335 each. That's insane.
How long ago did you check that? Because I thought they were higher than that now.
About an hour ago.
Okay. See,
that's each. Yeah, I mean for each in the supporter section right now.
Now I think it's interesting too because this happened. This essentially, I mean, the rumors have been around, right? Like we've known that this was a potential thing for a while. I actually thought it was going to be Barcelona. And by the way, Barcelona's statement that they put out is absolute crap. What a bunch of oh man, I've never been so close to just going on a cussing tirade on this show with some of the anyway, Barcelona's statement was BS. So disingenuous. But besides that, I thought he was going to Barcelona. I thought that's because he wants to go back. They even said today that's where he wants to be. And you don't blame him. You understand it. But they couldn't make it happen. I get it. But this happened all today, essentially. All the official stuff. I mean, it started bubbling up this morning from significant accounts. And then, of course, Fabrizio Romano gets on it. And it's like, okay, well, we're pretty close. And then he comes out and says, I'm going to Miami. That all happened within the past 12 hours. Less than that, actually. It now costs more to go to an Inter-Miami game than it does to go to the NBA final games.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Which is wild.
That's
so
funny.
The money's there. The money's going to be coming into this league. Now, MLS, you have to go and reinvest it. You have to allow your other teams to do things. And you have to push it. It's as simple as that.
So with Inter Miami in last place right now, and having lost their last 5 matches, what is I mean, we have to talk about it. What's a realistic finish for Inter Miami in the Eastern Conference standings with Lionel Messi? I can't believe I'm saying that.
Dude, this is that dimension I was talking about.
Unbelievable.
So weird.
Well, as you guys know, I like to gamble on occasion. And last night, after I bought my 2 MLS tickets,
A little bit.
I looked, and Miami was like plus 15,000 to win MLS Cup. I said, all right, betting $10 would win me 1,500 if they won. I put $10 on it last night. They're already offering me $30. Like they're like, if you know how gambling works, as it continues to go, as it looks better for the win on your side, they're going to offer you more money to cash out. There's been no games played, none, and they're already offering $20 more, just because he's made it there. So like that's crazy. Like they make the playoffs, I'm good.
Yeah,
they'll offer me a nice thing, but like it's just crazy how like that just changes the entire world and flips it upside down. But they have to make the playoffs, absolutely.
Well, you make the playoffs, and then You have Messi. You have the best big game player in the world. The playoffs are totally different. You as long as you get there, and it's not hard to get there, you're setting yourself up for a really, really good run. And I don't think it's out of the question to think that if they make it to the playoffs, that's the hard part for them right now, just because they're at the bottom. I mean, they still have to make it. It's not a stretch. It's also not the playoffs that MLS has had in the past. You can get there, even where they're at now. But you can, if you can get there, Messi and whoever else he might bring along, Tata Martino, Sergio Busquets was another big one that's kind of popping up today. Like, you might make a run all the way to the cup, and it's gonna blow people's mind, I think, how far they go in the playoffs. Now, how they finish in the Eastern Conference, I don't know. I think their goal right now is just get to the playoffs. I don't think they care about anything else besides getting to the playoffs and giving Messi a chance to cook in the playoffs.
They're 6 points out of a playoff spot right now. So 6 behind Charlotte for 9th place and 8 behind DC United for 7th, which will take him out of the play-in essentially into the first round. So, yeah, all bets are off, I think, for Inter Miami. I mean, it can't be any worse for them as it is right now. And it's a matter of how can Messi elevate the play of his teammates. Even if a player like Busquets comes over, you still have other players on that roster, Campana, Kamal Miller, Yedlin, Uchoa, guys like that. Can he elevate the style of those players, and can he prove to be the presence in the locker room that they need him to be? I think he will. I mean, it's Lionel Messi, for crying out loud. I mean, he doesn't need any motivation, but can he rally the players behind him and really put him put them on his back? Yeah, I think he will. Obviously, I mean, like he said, Tyler, he sees to the spotlight. He just won a World Cup, so yeah, it doesn't get any bigger than that. I mean, MLS Cup is like mini golf in that regard. But yeah, get really interested to see what happens. Yeah,
I love mini golf.
You know what I mean.
Call it putt putt. Call it what it really is. Like it's
putt putt. Miniature golf.
Thank you.
Bring it back to Atlanta. Do you think there's a chance that Almada stays a little bit longer? I know it's probably unlikely, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, cause I think some of our chat is looking for us to bring this back to Atlanta. But like,
yeah,
could this be a reason for Almada maybe to stay until the end of the year?
So I'll throw this out there because that actually got brought up on the Spaces today. We had the Twitter Spaces earlier, and I personally think if Almada were to go to Messi right now and say, hey man, you're here, biggest player in the world, like, what would you recommend? Messi would tell him, go to Europe, go play in the Champions League. That's not going to change. It's not like he's coming to Atlanta where Almada could directly learn under him. They're going to play twice a year, maybe 3 times a year, whatever, depending on like how the playoffs go and all that. I think, if anything, maybe you get until the end of the season out of Almada for this reason only, because you have a chance to play a real life, legitimate, not a friendly, competitive match against the best player in the world who has given you praise yet twice. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the Leagues Cup, but in front of your home fans at least once going forward in the window or past the window. Now, is that worth it to stay? I think if you bet on yourself, which Almada absolutely should, and say, all right, at the end of the season, the offers are still going to be there and they're probably going to be better than they are right now, potentially. And I get to go and have that exposure of being the only 2 World Cup winners in MLS right now, both from obviously the same country, to play against each other. Like that's a storyline. That's a big deal. And it could potentially boost up Almada's side even more, especially if he does well in that game. Like that would be huge. And so if you're Almada, you're betting on yourself. Now, I personally think Almada's staying until the end of the season anyway. I don't think he's gone in the summer, but I don't think you get him past that no matter what.
Yeah, and I wasn't thinking like he'd be here beyond this year, but I mean, I think a lot of people think that the summer window is the time for him to go. So many leagues open up. It's good business. Teams are going to want to pay. Teams pay a lot in the summer. Someone's going to hop in and try to get him now. So, but maybe he wants to stay a little bit longer to be able to play against his idol.